the cloud. And want to welcome everyone right now in person, and for those listening to the recording, to Peril Center for Women's Enterprise Wednesday webinars. Today's second webinar is with Brianna, and she's going to be sharing with us about why the customer isn't always right. We need to know that. We first as business owners and also as customer ourselves. Let's see how that goes. If you are listening to this recording, you can always contact Brianna. I'm sure you'll leave the information at some point in the presentation. Contact her at any time, or you can contact your counselor at any point for questions or to talk more about this topic. So without any delays, I want to introduce Brianna to speak with us, to share some expertise. She is with BRealStudios. So take the floor, Brianna, and welcome.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me. I'm excited to talk today about customer service in particular. Owning a yoga studio, we also make all of our natural products. So we have home products, so all natural cleaning products we make, handmade. And then we also have all natural kind of skincare, bath, body, you name it. So we have a retail in our studio, which is a whole other realm of customer service. And then we have the yoga studio, and then we also have a nutrition practice. And so there's a lot of different dynamics that kind of go on, but I wanted to compile everything that I've kind of dealt with, as well as just general research that kind of I've used to ebb and flow with the different kind of experiences that I've had and how to respond to them. So I'm gonna do a screen share and then we'll get started. Recording studio. Let's see what that does. Oh, all right. Let's see here. Okay. Perfect. So this is my studio on the right, BRealStudios. And of course, so I am a yoga instructor. I'm also a registered holistic nutritionist. So in the back, we have a nutrition practice. And then, of course, we have the yoga studio. I have a couple different instructors, especially now being pregnant. I have a lot of different instructors to take over my classes. But we've dealt with so many different evolving. So I'm about four years old now with the business, 4 or 5. And especially going through and coming out of a pandemic, I think customer service has definitely shifted and changed, especially because through the pandemic, I feel like there was a big surge of people being a lot more empathetic to the small business owner and to entrepreneurs in general. And so I wanted to talk not only necessarily just about kind of customer service and my experience with it, but also what, like I was saying, what the research says for both kind of, if you think about your experience in a corporate setting as well as your experience in a small business. So you can kind of look at all these different aspects in terms of how would I respond as an entrepreneur? How do I respond as a customer to a small business? How do I respond as a customer to corporation? Because corporate world really affects small business and kind of how we deal with things, especially if you're living, I find, in a smaller community where there is maybe a little more, maybe a little less small business happening. So I think, in my opinion, customer service is no longer kind of a one size fits all. So I think when a lot of people, which is why I wanted to call my presentation this, when a lot of people think customer service, you think corporate, kind of the customer is always right. And I think as a business owner as well, you have that guilt happening when a lot of customers come to you asking for certain things or demanding certain things, and you feel like you should always say yes, whatever you want, because I want your money. Right? It's like this kind of back and forth of like, well, I can't really have boundaries because I need to always be, it's word of mouth, this is going to ruin my business. But we're really coming out of that as a culture through communities. And especially, like I said, I think that COVID actually kind of helped us in that aspect of kind of people looking at small business as humans behind the desk, rather than that kind of corporate mentality of I'm just here to do my job, I'm just another person kind of showing up to get my paycheck. So if we go to the next slide. So me and my husband both own this business. And so we kind of run it together. And we also really want to kind of depict this aspect of, we're a family that kind of has real life things happening, and still maintaining that kind of professionalism, but also changing the game when it comes to like what customer service looks like. And so when I thought, okay, that's my experience, I also wanted to pair it with, okay, so what does the research say? What are other people finding? Is this a common kind of aspect of how people are dealing with customer service in this and what I mean by that is, are people starting to really see entrepreneurs and small business owners as humans, as opposed to you should just give me what I want because I want it, and Dollarama is open 24/7, so why aren't you open 24/7? And so the number one trend in both small business and corporate business is community, creating and knowing your community. So if we go to the next slide. So in corporate terms, of course, this means kind of ensuring that there's this free flow of information, and really kind of helping or making people feel like people when they walk in the door, as opposed to kind of just another number. I was looking at this Forbes article that actually said that the majority of people, so 96% of people, actually care more about their experience. And this is again, both for small business and corporate. They care more about the experience that they're getting in your space, as opposed to what the actual quality of the product delivered is. So I think that's huge, because it really says like customer service really is everything. But that being said, we also have to look at, what does customer service really mean? And so, in my opinion, in real people terms, as opposed to corporate terms, I think that customer service without community and setting boundaries really leads to burnout culture, because you're really just saying, I have to say yes to everyone that walks through the door. If someone's having a bad day and they choose to take it out on me, I have to accept that, because that's customer service. I have to always put a smile on my face, and I have to always be very happy. And I don't think that that's necessarily what customer service means at all. In fact, I think that you need to define what is your community and what are your boundaries, and you deliver that. That's part of the experience people are walking in with. You decide what you stand for and what really community means in your business, and people respond to that, and they kind of, I don't want to use like, as I feel like fall in line is like a really kind of aggressive term, but they respond to that, right? So me and Nathan, like I said, this is us, and this is our two puppies. And our dogs come with us to work every day. And so we wanted to create that community, that people know us and people know who we are and people know who our dogs are. And people know who our children are, and people feel really comfortable coming in and talking about their day, because especially as a holistic space, one of our main pillars in creating community was, we want to know people's names, and we want them to know our names. And when someone walks in the door, we want to be able to say, how was that thing that you did last weekend, because I remember, things like that. And so really, in cultivating a community that is driven by just purely our passion and our kind of people understanding that we are real people and we have real lives, and we're going to do everything we can to, pour into this space so we can give back to you as consumers, and into our services so we can pour back to you as consumers. But we also want people to feel like they know us and that they're not just, like I said, another number. They're not just kind of walking in and out. I used to teach at a bunch of different yoga studios around town. And the biggest thing that I felt was lacking and what I was craving, even as a student, was just to feel like I walked in and they knew who I was. And, even just as simple as, oh my God, Brianna, hey, welcome. And that's it. Makes you feel like you're part of something bigger, regardless of what your, industry is. And so carrying that into my business, that is the number one comment that I consistently get, people saying, I wanted, yes, wellness, I wanted nutrition, I wanted yoga, but I also wanted to feel like I was part of this holistic community. And so I think like it really shows that building that sense of community is something that people value, just like the research was saying, far more than they actually, not saying that you can have a crappy product, but it's something that they remember more than they remember the quality of the product or the delivery of the product. And so, I think that I have a ton of different examples of this where not only, we've really tried to cultivate this community and got the positive response of, hey, I love that you actually create a community. But on the other hand, we also set boundaries in our customer service so that we don't end up kind of either getting walked all over, or again, feeling burnt out and not being able to deliver, not enjoying our jobs anymore. And so, I remember once when I first opened and I was really trying to kind of give off this community and define who I was. And you have to teach people in your business what it is that you deliver and what it is that you respect, and or that what you expect from clients, right? And a lot of different marketing companies will say that as well. You have to train your customers. And so there was one lady and she came in consistently, and every time she came in there was something wrong. There was either the studio temperature wasn't good for her, or there was a smell that she didn't like. There was just always something wrong, and she would always find something to make me feel bad. And initially I was like, I'm so sorry. It's that mentality of, like, you're always right, I'm always wrong, that kind of thing. And it didn't take me very long to kind of realize this is not the type of client that I want. This is not, and as a business owner, you have the right to say, I'm not putting up with this. This is not the community that we have here. And so she came in one day and she had a couple classes left on her pass, and I had her refund set out for her. And she was like, hi, I'm signing into class. And I was like, oh, actually, I know that you don't have great reviews to say about this space. I know that you're not consistently happy with the service and the experience. And so, we've decided, out of the goodness of our hearts, to give you a full refund. We hope you have a great day. You don't have to kind of be like, you're trash, get out of here, you're not what I expect as a consumer. But just in a really respectful way, like, this isn't working out for you and I'm so sorry. And it's actually not working out for us either. And so here's your refund. And she had clearly never experienced that before. And she was so taken aback that I would, quote unquote, fire her as a student. And and she actually totally changed her tune completely and was like, I am so sorry, I didn't mean to be so disruptive, and again was a totally different person. But my boundaries as here's what we accept in our business, here's the respect that we'll give to you, but we expect it back. And I just said, like, I know that this is not the space, your ideal space and your ideal instructors and your ideal experience, and thank you so much for spending your time here. But and I was just kind of like firm and saying, like, please take your refund. And, there were other people that were kind of signing in and walking into class at the time. And I was kind of insecure about, does this like make me look bad? And, it's the first time I had really said, I'm not dealing with this. You are disrespecting me and my business. And after I went into class, and every single person actually, like, it's like I walked in and people started like applauding. And we're actually like, that is, such, we respect you so much for standing up for yourself. That woman was not even nice to us as other kind of community members. And, good for you for standing up for yourself. So the response was so positive. And from then on, I really was like, this is definitely something that I need to be kind of following my intuition around, and cultivating that kind of the definition of what is community. So I went, after that class, I took a notebook out and I actually started writing down the characteristics of the community that I want to cultivate, and the different types of clients that I want to manifest, and that whole aspect, really defining it. I think that's a really pivotal part, because you can kind of say, yeah, I want a great community, but what does that mean? And what does it feel like? And what does it look like? And then I think, dealing with different customer service aspects is much easier when you have that in your head. Your intuition can speak through it and from it. And so you really have that idea of, when you have those clients or those situations or those customers, your intuition kind of kicks in and says, this is not what I wrote down. This is not kind of the idea that I had in my head of what I accept in my space. And so, another example is when we opened another yoga studio, closed, and they kind of came to us and said, hey, would you take on some of our clients, because we can't really fulfill the rest of their passes. We have to close down. Would you take them on? And I said, oh yeah, totally. That's fine. Like, no charge. I'll take those clients on, with the hope of hopefully they, fit into the community and they want to continue at this studio. And so we had a whole new community of people, right? And they had been trained in that community or had not been trained in any community. And so when they came to the studio, it was so wild, because you spend time cultivating a community of what you expect and what they expect from you in your community, and then you have this whole other group of people, and you don't even realize the difference. It's like you kind of just get used to your community and you're like, no, everyone's great. And so then you have a whole new crew of people coming in. And so, long story short, it was really difficult, because a lot of them were used to this other studio and this other way of kind of operating, and I had boundaries, and a lot of them weren't used to that. And so, in kind of weeding out, hey, this is inappropriate behavior, or this is what we expect, really you get to kind of see everyone kind of fall in or out, and it's not like we experienced anything really negative. It was just really interesting to see the people who vibed with the community stayed, and those who didn't kind of left and found other spaces. And I'm a part of a bunch of different Facebook groups of different yoga studio and wellness studio owners on Facebook, and things like that. And it's funny, because since we really decided this is our community and these are our boundaries as entrepreneurs and like small business owners, the amount of different comments locally and across the world that people deal with on in terms of customer service, me and Nathan always kind of comment how we don't really deal with that. We used to deal with that, but ever since creating these boundaries and really kind of defining what our community is going to look like and feel like, we haven't had to deal with half of the things that a lot of other local studios have. And again, studios across Ontario, Canada, and the world in these Facebook groups. So I think that really cultivating that sense of community, and again, like the vibe that you give off, and ultimately the passion that you kind of exude, really attracts the type of community that you're going to cultivate, and really kind of sets the stage for the different kind of things that you might have to deal with. So again, for example, when me and Nathan got married, we took our honeymoon, and that was 5 years ago. And we've just been pouring into our business since. And so earlier this year, we were like, it's been a year. It's been a long 2 years. We need to take some kind of vacation. So we took 2 weeks off, and that those 2 weeks we had kind of, prepped our clients for it. And, we had to cancel some of the classes because I didn't have a lot of instructors. And ultimately we had to close our boutique. And so when we came back, we got a couple people coming in and making different comments around, oh, well, like the hours have always been a big thing for us. So while I stopped by and you weren't here and I was ready to purchase something and you lost out on that sale, just like the boldness of people. And we were like, oh, we're so sorry. We haven't actually taken vacation in 5 years, and we went to Italy, we did this amazing trip. And, it's just us. It's just, we own this space together, we're husband and wife duo. And, sometimes we're going to need to close the studio, and, sorry that we missed you. And the kind of change in people's faces of realizing, oh yeah, you're just real people, like I think so many people are used to dealing with the people in those corporate settings, or like calling someone on the phone that's like so far away and they don't even know what you're talking about. And you're like, I just need help. Like people are so used to not looking at a face and not making that connection of like, I'm a real person and we're doing the absolute best that we can. And we're just trying to like live our life and support our family. And so really, again, I think that's, something that we had written down, of making people kind of realize that like we're people behind this business and we do care about you, but we also ultimately are not going to be operating like a Walmart, all of the time. And that's part of the beauty of dealing with small business and, entrepreneurs in general, is really recognizing that there's a person there and people will change their tune. And so, of course, along with setting boundaries to kind of set those aside, like kind of deviate between the two types of people who are going to respond to you, we also reward people who get it. And so we have a VIP like program where those who kind of respect our boundaries and respect our community guidelines and, play by the rules, so to speak, which we have kind of put up and make people know of, they get to be in the Karma Club. And so with that, they get discounts and access to workshops earlier and different things like that. And we make sure to not just say, hey, you qualify for VIP in an email. We actually wait until they come into the space, and we make sure that they know that they help in cultivating the community. It's not just you buy X amount of product and now you get this VIP. It's you constantly are bringing people in here and telling them how much you love the experience here. You're constantly telling other people about the product. You're constantly, respecting our guidelines and helping other people out. If we're busy, sometimes our other members will be like, oh my God, come with me. I'm going to give you a tour of the space. And so really kind of on top of creating that customer service experience yourself, you can also create that experience through the community that you cultivate. And I think that's kind of really, really good to note. Another thing that I think really, when it comes to customer service, aside from creating that community, is really to look at the kind of how your business is evolving with the world. And so by that, I mean, people need convenience. And I think that's a huge aspect of customer service. People want, especially in 2022, people want to be able to purchase online. They want to be able to see everything at the click of a button. They want to be able to, easily sign into things, sign out of things. And so really making sure that, your kind of website is up to date. With the easier you can make it, the better. So this research says that a study of millennials and Gen Z showed that 60% of people actually preferred to do things online without the experience of like a human when it comes to purchasing things and spending money in your business. And I think that, again, just kind of really comes down to the aspect of convenience. People just want it as easy as possible to be able to purchase things from you. And that is a positive customer service experience. Of course, when they come into your space, cultivating that community, but especially for people who are mainly online based, making it as easy as possible guarantees you a positive customer service review. A lot of people in their reviews talked about the ease of purchase. So making sure that when you have a Facebook page and people are responding to or even just go to clicks to send you a message, you have it checked off on your page that those auto kind of responses come up so that people can ask questions easily by just clicking a button. A lot of the research actually shows that having a frequently asked questions section on your website is actually a huge part of customer service as well. Because again, it makes it easy for people just to figure out what they need to figure out on one page. And then, of course, now with Facebook and Instagram, you can link all of your products right there so that if you have a post and you link your product, then all they have to do is click on that and click purchase or add to cart. So just little things like that, I think, also makes a huge difference. We just recently shifted our system that we use from one kind of for our yoga and booking system for nutrition as well, and purchasing for our products. We used to use one system that wasn't super easy to navigate. And a lot of people would just kind of come into the studio and say, it's easier if I just do it in here. And so we didn't really think anything of it. But in kind of following these different Facebook groups and listening to a lot of other entrepreneurs saying that they were struggling with the same thing in terms of ease of purchase, we found another system that we decided to go with that actually the only difference, the price is the exact same, the kind of function is pretty well the same. The only difference is that this new company makes it super easy for people to purchase classes online for yoga and book in nutrition appointments and purchase product. And so since we shifted to that system, we've only been with this new system for about 2 months, and we've seen a huge increase in sales, because it's not that people don't want your services or that they don't want to come in. They just want it to be so easy to do. And I think there are so many things, especially with everyone being on their phones all the time. People are bombarded with product and things to purchase and different, now even TikTok, they're trying to turn into like linking with Amazon, and they're actually trying to create their own Amazon so that you can purchase things right on TikTok because that's what people want, right? It's not that they don't want the product. Then I have to go get my visa out. Why is Amazon so successful? Because you literally just have to click purchase and everything is done for you, right? And so I think that's also a huge aspect of kind of evolving with the world, is that this is what everyone is doing now. Try and make it as easy to not only book, but purchase on your website as possible. So like here, just some of the examples that I already said, kind of even if you don't have something that's easily linkable, using something like Linktree on your social media to create those links where you can put, on Instagram, your website can be your Linktree. So when people click on that, all of a sudden, all your different links come up. I know a lot of people already use this, but I think that is super important, especially if I'm launching a workshop. And I can just say, click the link in my bio to purchase the workshop. And then I can link to, my online storefront right there. So I don't have to say, go to my website and then click on this link and then go here, like I said, with the frequently asked questions and automated questions on Messenger. This is a huge thing that when I was looking at the research actually showed it increases your sales and the kind of level of clickability on your website. And then, of course, just using social media to communicate with your audience is a huge part of customer service as well. So in conclusion, customers don't want to just be another number. They want to know that they matter and that their dollar matters, especially the younger generation is all about making sure that, there's an impact and not just purchasing because necessarily it's easier, convenient, but also making sure that there's an impact on their dollar and that they're now people know the real impact of voting with your dollar, right? And so people want to know what your community stands for. People want it to be easy to be able to kind of purchase things from you. And of course, they want to feel like they belong in your sense of community. So I think, bringing all of these things together in terms of that, creating the community, writing it down. What is it that your community stands for? What are your boundaries in your business? How am I making sure that I'm evolving with the world and creating or delivering super easy and convenient customer service, as well as making sure our customer service is kind of falling back into that sense of community? It's really like that kind of wheel of everything kind of goes into each other, and just making sure that you're leading with passion, right? As opposed to, people can feel when you're leading with your main goals are financial, as opposed to, true passion for what you're doing, and this kind of need to deliver to your community. So yeah, I think combining all those things together, that's what I think the best way to cultivate the sense of community, and how we really need to shift our thinking around what is customer service. I don't necessarily, no, I didn't put my credential or my contact information here, but it's BRealStudios is my website, and everything is on there. So my Instagram is linked there, and Facebook, and emails and contact information. Everything is right on the website. If you would like to reach out, or if you have any questions. But yeah, other than that, thank you so much for listening in, for taking the time. And I hope that was beneficial.
Oh, absolutely. I learned a lot and definitely can feel the connection. And I'm sure whoever listens to this has a lot to learn too. Maybe just a lesson on boundaries, how to actually set those up, and um, not settle in a way that, because you're a business, you have to bow in a way to to anyone who comes and buy your products or uses your
Exactly.
service. And I love that, creating that culture to fit, um, just creating that fit in that criteria, in that culture of community. It's amazing, amazing. I watched the show Billions, and they did that for their clients. They were like the VIP list. Only if you met this criteria, you get to invest with them. So totally bad on that. So where are you located at, Brianna?
So in North Bay on Trout Lake Road.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. And people can find you anywhere on social media, your website, your contacts. Awesome. Thank you so much. So whoever is watching or recording, feel free to contact her. And I am jealous though to be in North Bay. I want that here in Thunder Bay to be able to go. So we'll be seeing you for sure. Lori, do you have any questions? All right.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Absolutely.